Hey everyone, welcome back. You think Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was just a whimsical children's fantasy? Think again. This 1971 masterpiece was actually a sugar-dusted battleground where leaking pipes, temperamental child actors, and studio rivalries collided in spectacular fashion. Props collapsed. Tempers erupted. The author threatened to yank his name off the marquee entirely. Today, we're unwrapping 20 bizarre facts about this cult classic that'll make you see the film in a completely different light. Stick around because we've got mind-bending revelations that most fans have never heard. And if you love wild Hollywood stories, hit that like button and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes madness. Let's dive in. Fact 1. The chocolate river that stank. Imagine this: 15,000 gallons of water, powdered chocolate mix, and real cream. Sounds delightful, right? Wrong. Within days of filming, bacteria bloomed across the surface. The chocolate curdled. And a brutal, sour milk smell clung to every single costume on set. Crew members gagged between takes. Gene Wilder, yes, the Gene Wilder, kept lavender oil stuffed in his sleeve just to mask the odor during scenes. But the child actors? They had no choice. The call sheet said splash in the river, so they splashed. Only to discover that the brown dye stained their skin for an entire week afterward. Here's where it gets dangerous. After one of Augustus Gloop's takes, the pump literally failed. The boy nearly drifted under the paddle wheel before a grip had to dive in and physically haul him out of the murky water. This wasn't a whimsical river. It was a rancid lagoon with real peril lurking beneath the foam. Fact 2. Gene Wilder's contractual somersault. Gene Wilder had demands. Serious demands. He told director Mel Stewart that he'd only sign the film if Wonka's entrance unfolded in a very specific way. The character limps toward the crowd with his cane scraping the ground. Then, in one fluid motion, performs a perfect somersault and lands in flawless poise. Why? Because that move signals to the audience that from this moment forward, nothing in the factory can be trusted. It's pure psychological genius. Studio lawyers panicked. What if he injured himself on day one? What if the stunt went wrong? But Wilder refused to budge. So the costume department sewed hidden padding into his violet suit. Stunt coordinators rehearsed angles obsessively. Production insurance skyrocketed. When they finally rolled on the first take, Wilder nailed it perfectly. And the cast's genuine gasp of surprise. That made it into the final cut. Not a quirky gag. Not a casual entrance. But a contracting psychological trap that rewrote Wonka's entire mystique in one move. Fact 3. Munich's stealthy tax break. Here's the financial reality nobody talks about. Paramount slashed the film's budget dramatically after securing Nestle's sponsorship. Desperate to cut costs, producers fled Hollywood's union wages and headed to West Germany, where post-war tax incentives were hefty. So imagine the scene: Munich's gallery streets transformed overnight into Victorian London. Locals stared in disbelief as prop lamp posts appeared beside beer halls. The city's drab winter light became a practical filming tool. Cinematographer Arthur Ibbotson used it brilliantly to bleach candy colors into surreal, pop art brilliance. But logistics? Absolute nightmare. The cast couldn't read German street signs, so translators scribbled phonetic cues on call sheets. Cocoa shipments got stuck in customs. Oompa Loompa extras got lost on trams. The move saved $2 million, but it constantly teetered on complete collapse. Fact 4. Slugworth's secret isolation tactic. Actor Gunter Meisner, who played the sinister Slugworth, spoke fluent English. But director Stewart instructed him to pretend he didn't. More than that, he told Meisner to avoid the child actors entirely. He lurked behind scenery until cameras rolled. So when Peter Ostram's character turned a corner, he found Meisner inches from his face for the very first time. Already in costume. Already terrifying. The terror you see in that scene is absolutely real, amplified by Meisner's guttural whisper, "We are the music makers and we are the dreamers of dreams." Between takes. The German crew smuggled Meisner through back corridors so the kids never caught him smiling or being human. This wasn't standard villain performance. It was a method experiment that injected genuine psychological dread into every golden ticket whisper. Fact 5. The ever-melting Wonka bars. There were 1,200 hastily molded prop Wonka bars created for filming. Nestle's chemist promised they'd be shelf-stable chocolate. Reality had other plans. By week 2, half the stockpiled bars sagged like wax under the studio lights. So what did the props department do? They painted hundreds of wooden blanks, spritzed them with candy aroma, and told actors never, ever to bite them. On close-ups, Wilder would swap the wooden shells for freshly refrigerated real bars. Multiple bars per take. He'd bite them, then spit the pieces into a hidden bucket to keep his violet coat spotless. One edible bar cost the production $12 in refrigeration and courier runs. Not cute product placement. Not magical candy. But a logistical meltdown masquerading as candy magic. Fact 6. The office where nothing fits. Production designer Harper Goff constructed Wonka's office with deliberate psychological sabotage in mind. Every single object, the desk, clocks, doors, was sliced exactly in half. No surface met perfectly. This unsettling geometry telegraphed something subconscious to audiences: that final handshake with Charlie would be a hollow victory. Cast members had to tilt cups that spilled. They opened drawers that weren't real. They fought their own muscle memory every single take. The geometry forced Wilder to invent new gestures, palming imaginary blobs of paper, adjusting non-existent objects. Viewers subconsciously felt the imbalance long before Charlie even realized the contract was a trap. Not random eccentricity, but a subliminal warning that nobody leaves Wonka's games unchanged. Fact 7. Dahl's disastrous first screening. Roald Dahl arrived at the first screening expecting his original script. Instead, he found David Seltzer's rewrites that gave Wonka bigger lines and Slugworth a completely new agenda. When the lights came up, Dahl stormed out, calling Paramount robbers of imagination. He urged British critics to pan the film. He threatened to pull sequel rights. Publicists scrambled, offering charity donations in Dahl's name to smooth things over. Meanwhile, Gene Wilder, ever the diplomat, penned a polite open letter praising Dahl's dangerous ideas, trying to placate the press. The feud froze adaptation plans for decades. That's how upset the author was. But eventually, this film became beloved enough that people forgot all about the initial controversy. Imagine that. Fact 8. Oompa Loompa casting chaos. They weren't identically tiny. They were an international patchwork of circus performers, ex-boxers, and, I kid you not, one former accountant. Director Stewart auditioned hundreds of people under 5 feet tall before finally signing a diverse crew, 10 men and 1 woman from France, Turkey, Malta, and Britain. Languages collided constantly. Choreographer Howard Jeffrey counted steps in French. The drummer cued beats in German. Half the cast moved on 3 instead of 4. Gene Wilder literally kept rhythm by snapping his cane like a conductor. The musical numbers you love. They're stitched from dozens of takes where at least one Oompa Loompa faced the wrong way. Not seamless choreography, but a frantic babble that miraculously sank in the edit bay to create magic. Fact 9. The exploding candy apple incident. During the inventing room scene, a prop apple was rigged with pressurized candy glass. It had a hairline flaw. It was supposed to hiss bubbles and deflate. Instead, it detonated, sending sugar shrapnel toward Gene Wilder's face. Protective lenses deflected most shards, but his cheek still bled. And cameras kept rolling. Insurance adjusters later labeled the footage valuable authenticity. Wilder declined stitches, saying Wonka would consider blood an acceptable flavor enhancer. The take ended up mostly trimmed. But if you freeze-frame the final cut, you can still see a single red smear on his collar. Not cute confectionery, but a near miss that could have ended the entire production in crimson regret. Fact 10. The tunnel boat ride from hell. The infamous tunnel sequence used live centipedes, an actual chicken decapitation reel, and strobe lights cranked beyond OSHA limits. No child saw a test run. Their first exposure was on camera, completely live. Terror was raw and real. Gene Wilder's improvised scream, "We are going to go faster," blasted through hidden speakers. One kid cried off-screen. Another vomited into a candy wrapper. Director Mel Stewart kept rolling, whispering, "Real fear sells." Fact 11. Charlie trades Hollywood for Holstein cows after finishing Willy Wonka at age 13. Peter Ostrom faced a 3-picture studio option. His stomach twisted tighter than a fizzy-lifting drink bubble. He'd spent 5 months in Munich, and the whirlwind of press junkets already felt suffocating. Back in upstate New York, a veterinarian treating the family's draft horse let him hold a stethoscope. The steady heartbeat floors him. Within weeks, he rejected Hollywood's contract, bought a calf with his residual check, and disappeared into 4-H meetings. Today he still receives royalty statements 4 times a year, which he jokes barely cover barn sawdust. When Warner Brothers invited him to cameo in the 2005 remake, he declined, calving season waits for no man. Not a fallen child star, but a self-chosen exit that turns a golden ticket into a cattle tag. Fact 12, the fridge door contract monologue. Gene Wilder's lightning speed recitation of Charlie's contract isn't random nonsense. It's inside baseball satire. Producer David Wolper mailed the art department genuine Paramount boilerplate agreements and told them to stitch clauses together until the page looked absurd. A gleeful copywriter pasted in gems like warranty coverage void if door left ajar, right beside Latin indemnities for acts of Oompa Loompa. Crew members broke etiquette and applauded during the take. That exact take made it into the final cut. Not random word salad, but a razor-edged Hollywood roast served so quickly most audiences never taste the burn. Fact 13, Veruca's purple and black battle scars. Julie Dawn Cole insisted on performing her own tumble onto the egg chute's steel trapdoor. Special effects experts guaranteed the pneumatic hatch would hiss shut a full second after she cleared it. But on take 2, an air hose jammed. The door slammed early, hammering her shin with 60 pounds of force. Cole bit her lip, finished the musical cue, then collapsed behind set flats while medics swarmed. A fist-sized bruise bloomed. She refused X-rays, fearing production delays would push the scene to another time slot. She kept filming for 3 more days, hiding swelling beneath candy-striped tights. Decades later, she sold her original golden ticket at auction to offset lingering knee therapy bills. Not a spoiled brat's tantrum, but a blood and bone receipt for that iconic, "I want it now" stomp. Fact 14, strike that, reverse it. Born from chaos, the movie's most quoted catchphrase exploded from a technical disaster. During the inventing room sequence, a spark from the everlasting gobstopper machine tripped the lighting grid, killing one key lamp. Wilder, mid-monologue, saw half the set plunge into shadow. Rather than stop, he pivoted, strike that. Reverse it. The crew froze, unsure if it was scripted. Director Mel Stewart silently gestured, keep rolling. Wilder repeated the ad-lib twice more, turning a glitch into Wonka's verbal fingerprint. In dailies, editors realized the line's comic rhythm resets any botched timing, so they spliced it into 3 future scenes as a deliberate motif. Not clever screenwriting, but controlled detonation of on-set mayhem crystallized into cinematic gold. Fact 15, Quaker Oats Candy Lab experiment. Quaker Oats bankrolled the entire film as a live-action commercial for a new Wonka bar. Executives installed food scientists on set to monitor how child actors gripped melted chocolate, measured wrapper tear angles, and timed bite durations. Every smudge became data for packaging prototypes. Back in Chicago, the punchline hit hard. Factory kinks delayed the real bars so shoppers couldn't find them when the film opened. Quaker quietly shelved the product. But the test results birthed an entirely new line of confections, Laffy Taffy and Nerds. All because of this film. Fact 16, the rights default that saved the film when Wonka underperformed in 1971, Paramount let distribution rights lapse in 1977. Writing the picture off as stale candy. But the paperwork quirked. Ownership reverted to Quaker Oats, a cereal giant with zero interest in film catalogs. They dumped it to Warner Brothers for a mere $500,000. Less than half the original budget. Warner needed holiday content, so they plunked the movie into their Thanksgiving TV rotation. Families tuned in. Ratings spiked. Home video sales exploded through the 1980s, minting a cult classic out of a tax write-off orphan. Not strategic vision, but an accounting accident that turned failure into evergreen nostalgia. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory should have melted into obscurity like its doomed Quaker test bars. Instead, every misfire, every soured river, every bruised shin, every failed candy launch, and every botched contract fermented into a cordial that still warms new generations. It wasn't a flawless fantasy. It was a factory of beautiful accidents, proving that imagination often grows best in sticky, imperfect corners. If you savored these secrets, smash that subscribe button. Share this video with a fellow dreamer. And remember, the real golden ticket isn't in a wrapper. It's the curiosity you carry into every moment. Thanks for watching. See you next time.